So over the years, our beloved parenting contributor, Heather Johnson, has enlightened us on the best parenting practices. But in this month of December, that motherhood rule book requires some revisions because parenting during the holidays has its own unique challenges, but it can also be, we're told, and we hope, the most magical time of the year to be mom. So Heather joins me with do's and don'ts for holiday parenting. I love this topic. Yeah. We need this topic. We're about, what, a couple weeks away from Christmas. Yep. The sugar is flowing. I'm going to add that to the list of challenges. A lot of sugar out there.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right? Yes.
What other challenges do you see for mom during this month?
Well, there are so many expectations for the holidays. I mean, really, we kind of start right after, even Halloween is included, but we've got Thanksgiving, and now here we are at Christmas. There are so many expectations. We put them on ourselves. Our family puts them on us. We have extended family that has their own set of expectations, meaning how they want things to go, activities they think should be executed. We're extra busy. We think we need to figure out how to do all the things all the time.
To, again, satisfy all the people.
All the people, right? And so just this overwhelming space of expectations that everyone has, it makes this really tricky to parent. It can be really hard.
And I'm about to say the most obvious and probably dim comment of the day, which is it does all land on mom. Like, we know this, but not all of it. I saw you flinch a little bit.
I know, a little. We don't want it to.
A lot of it does when you talk about those expectations of extended family or the dish I'm bringing to the holiday party, or a lot of that does land on our lap. So the load is real.
The load is real. There is more to do at this time of year, right? If we're going to, like, I don't know, a random week in March, there's less to do than there is in December.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a lot that we're trying to get done.
Let's talk about how moms can bring in the merry and the magic, which is what we want as much as any child wants this time of year. You say it's not too late to have sort of a pre-event meeting. There's a lot coming down the pipe in the next 10 days. We can strategize around that.
We can. You always want to have pre-event meetings. It doesn't matter how old your kids or how young your kids are. This is where you're sitting down with them and you're helping them understand what's about to unfold, right? It's getting everyone on the same team, on the same page. It also does so much to help our kids be able to transition. So if you have a child or a teenager has a hard time transitioning, and all of a sudden Christmas Eve, you're going to go from grandma and grandpa's house to aunt and uncle's house, then you're going to come home, and then you've got all of this going on. Help them understand. Help them understand who's going to be at each space. Help them understand what's going to go down. If you have a child who's sensitive with food, help them understand what you're going to eat there. These pre-event meetings give your kids an opportunity to have a voice and to feel comfortable and safe and secure because you're making all of these experiences predictable for them. It does so much for them. The other really cool thing about having these sit-downs as a family is you get to ask your kids what matters to them. We would be shocked to find out that there's quite a few things we probably worry about that don't matter to our kids over the holidays. Yeah. And it gives them a voice and an ability to say, Mom, this matters the most to me. And we can go, great, well, let's put less energy there and stress there. And let's focus on these things that the 3 of you or the 6 of you have said really matter. Sit down together and have conversations about it. Get prepared for it.
I love this, and conversations plural. I first interpreted this as have a pre-event meeting as in Christmas is the event, but you're saying every party, every dinner, every church event.
Yep. All the things, right? Even if you've got, I mean, I'm thinking ahead for us, we still have some choir concerts coming up or piano recitals. To be able to sit down and say, hey, you're going to come home from school on Thursday, and we're going to do these things, and then we're going to get ready about 5:30, and then we're going to head over about 6. This is where you're going to sit. Help them understand, no matter the age, when things are predictable, we feel more safe. And those pre-event meetings do that.
This next piece of advice, I also have an interpretation too that may or may not be accurate. I kind of see this as building a Fort Knox of our emotions, meaning your words are, don't let your kids dictate your emotions, or don't rely on your kids to set the tone. We kind of have to lock up and be our own inner compass, right?
We do, and even to add to that, we don't want to rely on our kids to manage our emotions. We don't need them or want them to have to show up a certain way during the holidays for us to be okay. And what we do is we have all these expectations, which remember, we want to let those things go. We want to just expect of us instead of expect of other people.
Yeah.
But we get there and we need kids to be on best behavior and have an excess of gratitude, and every toy is their very favorite, and be so excited to see their least favorite aunt that they have. We want them to show up in certain ways so we feel okay. We don't want to rely on them to manage our emotions. We want to be the ones in control and in charge. Instead of having our kids do that, we want to be able to help our kids. They are tired. They have seen lots of family. They have had lots of stimulus. Our teenagers, if they're in college, they've stepped away from family or from friends. If they're teenagers, they've come home for Christmas and have a break from school. they have a lot of emotions going on.
Sure.
Relying on them so that we have a good Christmas season isn't what we want to do.
You want us to keep this season unconditional. What do you mean by that?
So the way Christmas is set up, if we're not careful, everything is very conditional. Santa, well, he shows up and gives you presents versus coal if you're a good enough kid.
Okay.
And an elf is going to show up and watch you, and if you behave a certain way for 24 days, then you're going to get certain things. We even use a lot of words. We're constantly saying, are you being naughty or nice? And describing the list that their names are going to make it onto. When it comes to Christmas, it should be a season that's unconditional. If you're going to do Santa regardless of how your kids act, right? If there is going to be an elf in your home, allow it to hang out with your family and have experiences and watch you with them, opposed to if you don't act a certain way, then you don't get certain things.
Because isn't that attitude or that approach at the heart of the season
It's
anyway?
exactly right. Because as soon as we change that, now we're actually going against the exact reason we say we celebrate for a month.
Yes.
The exact reason. We also then are being very misleading in the values that we're expressing and teaching our children. So we want the season to be unconditional.
I love
Choose
that,
it.
Heather.
If you're going to do it, do it. If Santa's going to come, then Santa comes. If he's not, then he doesn't.
I love that. I really love that. You want us to create give lists. What's a give list?
So again, to line up with the values of the season, we are very quick and have probably already said to our kids, okay, write down your Christmas list.
Yeah.
Give me your wish list.
We've
What
had a
do you
couple.
want? Yeah, probably a number of different versions, right?
Variations, yeah.
They're traded out on the fridge or
Yeah.
wherever, and we're, the ones parents walking around the stores or online with the list on our phones that we've taken pictures of.
I mean, the North Pole does have a deadline. We just established. We just had to establish that. But yes, go on.
Right.
Give list.
There's an end to it, right? How often do we sit down with our kids and ask them to create a giving list? A list of all the things they can give, the resources that they have, the excess that they might have, the talents or abilities that they could give and use to serve other people. Imagine if in our homes, instead of us crossing off all the things that we're acquiring and getting, imagine if as individuals in our family, we all sat down every night and crossed off all the things that we gave that day. Again, to support, remember, we want to be really comfortable with what we do this season. We want our kids, when they're done, to realize the values behind it, not the toys behind it, or the ski passes behind it, or the cards and gifts behind it. And so this giving list, it changes your home when you have everyone sit down and write down all the ways that they can give outward, instead of all the things they want to bring in.
In our final minute together, help us help our families and our kids specifically manage all of that family time that's coming, which is so wonderful, but can be overstimulating, like you mentioned.
This extended family piece is a big deal.
Okay.
And the sooner we can decide what we want the holiday to look like for our family, instead of doing it everyone else's way, the happier our family will be and the more connected we'll be. So to be able to, again, reach out before the experience and say to extended family, here's what our family is able to do and contribute. We can come from 2 to 4. I can bring these things. This is how we can be engaged. But then to be sure to follow it up by a statement that makes it very clear that you're grateful for that extended family. For example, thank you for supporting that 2 hours is what's best for our family. Right? Thank you for understanding and being supportive that we need to juggle a couple different households on Christmas Eve, and lead our extended family to where we hope they'll be, we hope they'll be supportive. The other thing with extended family, especially with kids of all ages, is our kids tend to go into these situations and there's an influx of everybody wants a hug and everybody wants to wrap their arms around our kids. And we love that. And also, not every kid is comfortable with that. Not all children are okay with that. And so this is a really good place for us to help values and advocacy come together, where we want our kids to understand you don't necessarily have to hug that person, but you do need to respect that person. You do need to build a connection with that person. So to manage extended family means you might not have to hug your grandma, but maybe you could give her bones, or maybe you could give her a handshake, or maybe you could sit down next to her and put your hand on her shoulder and then ask how she's doing. So it's a really great place for us to teach our kids how to navigate extended family and them to stay comfortable and also live the values that our family believes in. It's okay if it looks different, as long as the values are being maintained. But parenting at this time of year, it takes a little creativity, stepping back a little bit.
Armed us up in all of the right ways. Thank you. A good pre-event, pre-holiday pep talk. Heather coaches families and individuals. You can find her contact information on our website.